breaking news. It's going to change up off on you, but Adam Scheffler reports the Cleveland Browns have relieved Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski will be no
Dang.
longer the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, two-time coach of the year, 2 tough seasons in a row. Cleveland will now be looking for a new head coach. Statement from the Browns ownership, Dee and Jimmy Haslam, said, "We have tremendous gratitude for Kevin's leadership of the Cleveland Browns over the last 6 seasons. He is a good football coach and even better person. We appreciate all his hard work and dedication to our organization, but our results over the last 2 seasons have not been satisfactory, and we believe a change at head coach position is necessary." What do you think about this initial reaction? Kevin Stefanski no longer the head coach at Cleveland.
Oof, I like Kevin Stefanski, so I'll be curious where he ends up going. I liked what he did early on with the Browns. Man, that's actually, it's not a shocker because I think we all kind of saw this coming a little bit. I do wonder immediately about the waterfall effects, like we talked about with Myles Garrett. Who's the next head coach going to be? What does that make the Browns look like defensively? What kind of changes do they make? There's going to be at least an impact there. But man, I wonder where. I hesitate to think that any coaching change is obviously going to or automatically going to propel the Browns into relevance. So I that's like, who are they going to hire? I don't really think it matters. I don't really care. I'm more actually curious about, where does Kevin Stefanski go? Because he could go be a great head coach somewhere else. It feels like it's an organizational issue for the Browns at this point. And then those highlighted players like Myles Garrett, what does that mean for them moving forward? What do you think of this? Was this the right play? And would you like to see Kevin Stefanski somewhere else? Because I know I would.
Yeah, I think he's a head coach in the league next year. And that's crazy to say. You get fired from the Browns and then you become a hot commodity. I think that alone tells you that it's an organizational problem. I think you're 100% right. Would not be shocked if he's in consideration or maybe even the top candidate for the Giants. Would not be shocked if he's in consideration or maybe even the top candidate for the Titans, the 2 other jobs opening. Would not be shocked if he's a consideration for maybe moving on to the Raiders, right? If the Raiders decide to move on, or Atlanta, right, who just fired their head coach with Raheem Morris. I think all of those teams that I just mentioned, one, have a young quarterback. That sounds like a perfect idea for Kevin Stefanski. Or if they don't have a young quarterback, they're in the mix for it with the Raiders conversation. Yeah, I think he's a head coach in the league next year, and it's wild to say that. That's immediate my reaction as soon as you're fired from the Cleveland Browns. Usually when that happens, you're going to be like a coordinator at the very best.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I was really impressed with what he did early on with the Browns, and it didn't work out. But when has anything for the Browns worked out at all? And I think you mentioned those positions that are open now. Well, this literally just broke. I don't know if it was in the middle of the show or if this was like right before you brought it up. But regardless, we're in that season. Like the next week or so, I would say maybe a little longer on some jobs. But for the most part, over the next few days, there's going to be quite a few openings, and it'll become a fit thing. It's not necessarily like, where will take me, but I think for Stefanski, it's going to be what's going to be the best fit moving forward, because he knows what he's seen as from the Browns and what it could be elsewhere might be enticing. My guess personally.
I wonder what that means for the leash for Andrew Berry, the GM for the Browns. He put out his quote talking about Stefanski, gave him good praise, just like the ownership did. And he said this was a difficult decision, and today is a tough day for our organization because the impact Kevin had and the deep, meaningful relationships he had across the building. To me, because you are making such a crazy change, I'm guessing that the ownership went to Andrew Berry and said, look, you need to make a change, because if you don't make a change now, it's not him, it's you. And if it's you, it's both of you. So I think this is one of those conversations that look like Kevin Stefanski might be the guy that just has to take the blame here if you're Andrew Berry, because you have one more shot at this. And maybe that's what it is. Either way, I don't think this is going to help him in the future. Andrew Berry's got to make a home run hire. And who wants to be a home run hire for the Cleveland Browns, right? Like, who are the options for the Browns? Like, Brian Dable, would he be willing to go to Cleveland? I mean, he's from the Northeast. He's from the Western New York area. Obviously, he's got ties to that area closely. I don't know, man. Do you have to bring a college guy up? Like, Cleveland's got to make a decision, and they have to find a way to make this work, because I think they have some decent pieces sitting around. Obviously, we talked about Myles Garrett earlier in the show about him just signing a huge deal. Does this change the fact of how Myles Garrett thinks about his contract? With Kevin
That's what I was.
Stefanski gone now, does he go to Andrew Berry and like, look, I don't want to deal with a whole brand new coaching staff. Let's move me. Let's get some picks for your team.
I'm
Let me go to a
saying.
contender. Like this could change and completely change what we think about Myles Garrett, the player who just recorded the NFL sack record 24 hours ago, could be now deciding, hey, I no longer want to be in Cleveland.
Hey, man, I hate to be that guy, but I was trying to say that. Like this could shake the Browns to their core. And I think it has to be a college guy that comes up. It might not be, like I said, my vibes-o-meter feels a little off today. But I do think that I think you probably
bring Belichick back to the Browns.
Oh my. Ooh.
Would it even be good? He's not doing great in Carolina. But like, is it
he's a better NFL quarterback?
That's a full that's a full circle, bringing him back to the Browns.
Yeah, it'd actually be really dangerous for his legacy though. If he fails then at the NFL level again, it's like, ooh, it was entirely Brady then? Yikes.
I think Bill Belichick could go 0-16 for 3 straight years, and that wouldn't impact his Hall of Fame credibility at all. But
what would impact his Hall of Fame credibility more? Going 0-16 for 3 straight years with the Browns, or continuing to let Jordan Hudson run his media empire?
Well, I don't think his legacy is doing anything, at least in the eyes of Canton, for what he's doing in college football. But so in that case, you're right. The media empire of Jordan Hudson is definitely helping that for sure. But yeah, some of the coaching potentials, yeah, I mean, who knows? To me, the first guy that comes to mind is Brian Daboll. I don't know if that's the right piece. It's just the one that comes to mind right off the bat. But man,
I think if you're the Browns, I don't think you're going to get a coach at the NFL level that is going to take you to anywhere.
Should we say it? Should we bring it up? Should Deion Sanders be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns?
Well, bring it up. Colorado's going to do what they can to prevent that. I think you made a great point earlier. Like they need to keep him in the building, but I think it has to
Ryan
be
Day at Ohio State. Does he take the jump?
I mean, he's done it all. He won his national championship and he beat Michigan, like not the same year, but
John Harbaugh. Does he get fired from Baltimore and go to Cleveland? We made a joke about he's going to be the next Giants head coach. What about the Browns?
I mean, what about Marcus Freeman? I heard he's turning down the Giants, but
he has turned down the Giants.
Maybe not the Browns. I do think it probably has to be a college guy if you're Cleveland's organization. They might end up with an NFL guy, and if you're a fan, I don't think you should be upset with an NFL head coach, because there is something to be said about like the NFL head coaching position is entirely different from college, and the translation isn't always there. And like sometimes it just is what it is. You might not be successful bringing up a college guy, but I think if you're the organization, you're not going to get a top tier NFL coach, and not that you really care about like what the fans think and all of that, but to get some real solid buy-in, I think bringing up a college coach who is highly touted would be a really, really smart play for the Browns here. I don't know who it would be, but let's just say hypothetically speaking, if they brought Curt Cignetti in, they probably win Super Bowl. So it is what it is.
Wild stuff. Absolute wild stuff happening on Monday. And I'm sure as soon as we end this live stream, even more crazy stuff is going to happen. The Cleveland Browns currently have the 6th pick in the NFL draft. I mean, they don't have to get a quarterback if they believe in Shedeur Sanders. They don't have to get a quarterback if they believe they can add more in free agency. They can get a core developed with a brand new head coach at the helm. And I don't think, being the 6th pick in the draft, I don't think you go after a quarterback. If I'm Cleveland and I'm sitting at 6, I'm thinking about trading down. I'm thinking about adding some pieces,
value,
build the core around maybe a Shedeur Sanders, who hasn't looked terrible over the last couple of games. I don't know if he's the answer, but he's not. I don't think he's the complete issue either. I think there's a lot of other things that are surrounding around Cleveland, and maybe potentially, as we mentioned, there's a time to move on from Myles Garrett. Wild way to end this show here. Marvin Round the Morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you guys
yes, sir.
Hope you have a great rest of your day. And of course, we'll be back here tomorrow with more Marvin Rao in the morning. Take care now.